Chapter 1. A Signal in the Dark. The year was 2389. Humanity had spent over 2 centuries exploring the stars, establishing colonies on dozens of worlds and mapping thousands of unexplored systems. Despite all that progress, one question remained unanswered. Were humans truly alone? Captain Ethan Carter had asked himself that question countless times. As commander of the exploration vessel ISS Horizon, he had traveled farther from Earth than almost any human in history. Years of silent missions had taught him not to expect miracles. Space was beautiful. Space was mysterious. But above all, space was lonely. The Horizon drifted through an uncharted region beyond Federation territory, where even automated probes rarely survived. Strange radiation storms interfered with communications, forcing the crew to rely on old-fashioned observation. Then everything changed. A weak distress signal appeared on the ship's sensors. It wasn't human. The language consisted of mathematical pulses unlike anything Earth's computers had ever decoded. Yet one thing was unmistakable. Someone was asking for help. Most captains would have turned away. Unknown. Signals in unexplored space often led to pirate traps or dangerous anomalies. Ethan made a different choice. Set course for the source. His officers exchanged nervous glances. Captain, Lieutenant Sarah warned, "We have no idea what's waiting for us." Ethan nodded. Exactly. If someone out there is in trouble, we don't abandon them simply because they're different. The engines roared to life. Hours later, the Horizon emerged from a dense asteroid field. There, floating helplessly among shattered rocks, was a spacecraft unlike anything humanity had ever seen. Chapter 2. The Stranger Named Kael. Docking with the alien vessel proved more difficult than anyone expected. The ship had no recognizable airlock, and its hull seemed almost alive, reshaping itself whenever the Horizon's docking clamps approached. After several tense minutes, the alien craft finally responded. A circular doorway slowly unfolded. Inside lay dim corridors illuminated by soft blue light. Captain Ethan led the boarding team personally. The atmosphere was breathable. Gravity matched Earth's, but everything else felt utterly alien. The walls pulsed gently, as though the ship itself possessed a heartbeat. Then they found the survivor. Chapter 3. Learning Each Other. The following days were filled with awkward smiles, simple gestures, and endless attempts at communication. The Horizon's AI analyzed Kael's language, while Kael used a small crystalline device to study English. Progress was slow, sometimes hilarious. When Ethan pointed to himself and said, "Human," Kael accidentally translated it as hairless mountain ape. The entire bridge erupted in laughter. Even Kael laughed after realizing the mistake. It was the first genuine laugh ever shared between two intelligent species. As trust grew, Kael finally explained why he had been alone. Chapter 4. A Promise Between Friends. Over the next few days, Kael became a familiar face aboard the ISS Horizon. Although the language barrier still existed, the translation software improved with every conversation. Ethan showed Kael the ship's observation deck, where countless stars stretched across the darkness. Kael admitted that, despite exploring space for years, he had never experienced such kindness from strangers. One evening, Kael finally revealed why pirates had attacked his vessel. Hidden inside his ship was a star map leading to a forgotten region of the galaxy, a place believed to contain ancient technology, powerful enough to reshape civilizations. The pirates wanted the map, but Kael had destroyed its main database before they could steal it. Ethan smiled and said, "Then we'll make sure they never get what's left." Kael looked at the human captain with gratitude. In my language, he said through the translator, a friend is someone who stands beside you when there is nothing to gain. Ethan extended his hand. Then we'll be friends. Kael shook it. Neither of them realized that this simple handshake would one day become a symbol of peace across the galaxy. Chapter 5. The Hunt Begins. 3 days after rescuing Kael, the ISS Horizon detected multiple unidentified ships entering the system. They were moving fast and directly toward the human vessel. Kael's expression changed the moment he saw them on the main screen. They found us, he said quietly. The pirates had tracked the emergency beacon from Kael's damaged ship. They weren't interested in the Horizon itself. They wanted the surviving Illyrian and the secrets he carried. Captain, Lieutenant Sarah reported, 5 hostile ships are locking weapons. The bridge fell silent. Ethan stood calmly and looked at his crew. We didn't rescue Kael just to hand him over. The crew nodded without hesitation. Weapons powered up. Shields flared to life. Human captain, he growled. Return the alien, and we'll let your ship leave. Ethan didn't even pause. My answer is no. The transmission ended. A heartbeat later, the first enemy lasers tore across space. The battle for one alien's life, and the beginning of humanity's greatest friendship, had just begun. Chapter 6. Humanity's Stand. Red warning lights flashed across the ISS Horizon as the pirate fleet opened fire. The ship shook violently, but the crew held their positions. Shields at 90%. Lieutenant Sarah called. Captain Ethan remained calm. Return fire, but aim for their engines. We end this without unnecessary bloodshed. Your weapons could have destroyed them, he said. Ethan nodded. They could have, but every life matters, even an enemy's. The pirates hadn't expected mercy. Believing humans to be weak, they charged straight toward the Horizon. That was their mistake. Within minutes, the remaining pirate ships began retreating. The bridge erupted in cheers. Kael looked at the human crew with admiration. Chapter 7. The Council's Warning. The ISS Horizon resumed its journey, but the victory brought little peace. A long-range transmission finally reached Kael's homeworld. Within hours, a holographic image filled the bridge. Several Illyrian council members appeared, their faces stern. Kael, the eldest said, you have violated protocol. Contact with an unknown civilization was forbidden. Kael stood tall. These humans saved my life. They asked for nothing in return. The council members turned their attention to Ethan. One of them spoke coldly. Human captain, thank you for your assistance. We will retrieve Kael from your ship immediately. Ethan glanced at his friend, who remained silent. Chapter 8. The Silent Enemy. 2 days after the Council's warning, the ISS Horizon entered a deserted star system. No planets showed signs of life. No ships appeared on the scanners. The silence felt wrong. Captain, Sarah said, I'm detecting dozens of objects ahead, but they have no energy signatures. As the ship moved closer, the bridge fell silent. Floating in space were the remains of an entire fleet. Human ships, alien vessels, and pirate cruisers drifted together, all destroyed by the same unknown force. There wasn't even a distress call, Kael whispered. Then the sensors came alive. Unknown contact, an officer shouted. A single black ship emerged from the darkness. It had no lights, no visible engines, and no identification. It simply watched. Ethan opened a communication channel. This is Captain Ethan Carter of the ISS Horizon. We come in peace. There was no reply. Instead, the black ship slowly turned toward them. Every warning alarm on the bridge activated at once. Weapons locked on us, Sarah reported. Ethan tightened his grip on the captain's chair. So, this is the enemy the Council feared. Chapter 9. Friends Against the Darkness. The dark energy beam streaked toward the ISS horizon. Ethan pulled the controls hard, and the ship rolled aside just in time. The beam missed by only a few meters, slicing through a nearby asteroid as if it were made of paper. Shields holding at 82%, Sarah shouted. Kael studied the enemy ship, his expression growing serious. "I've heard stories about them," he said. "They are called the Void Legion. They don't negotiate. They don't conquer worlds. They erase them." The bridge fell silent. Ethan took a deep breath. "Then we don't fight alone." He turned to Kael. "Any ideas?" Kael nodded and pointed to the enemy vessel. "Their front armor is nearly indestructible, but their energy core is exposed for a few seconds after every attack." Ethan smiled. "That's all we need." Chapter 10. A Message to the Galaxy. The battle was over, but everyone aboard the ISS Horizon knew it was only the beginning. The mysterious ship had retreated, not because it was defeated, but because it had learned something. Humans and Illyrians would fight together. As engineers repaired the ship, Kael stood beside Ethan on the observation deck. "I never imagined another species would risk everything for mine," Kael said. Ethan smiled. "Friendship isn't about sharing the same world. It's about standing together when it matters." Just then, a priority transmission arrived from the Illyrian Council. The elders had reviewed the battle recordings. For the first time in their history, they witnessed humans protecting an alien race without asking for territory, wealth, or advanced technology. The oldest council member stood and addressed the entire galaxy. "Let it be known that humanity is no longer a stranger to us. They are our allies and our friends." Across dozens of star systems, the announcement spread at the speed of light. Some civilizations celebrated, others grew nervous. Chapter 11. The Trap. Days after the Council's announcement, the ISS Horizon received a distress signal from a remote mining colony on the edge of explored space. "Civilians are under attack," Sarah reported. "The signal is weak, but it's real." Ethan didn't hesitate. "Set course. Maximum speed." Kael studied the transmission and frowned. "Something feels wrong." When the horizon arrived, the colony was silent. Buildings stood untouched, and not a single person could be seen. Then every sensor went dark. "Captain," an officer shouted, "we've lost communications." At that moment, dozens of Black Void Legion ships emerged from behind the nearby moon, surrounding the horizon. "It was a trap," Kael said quietly. A message appeared on the main screen. The masked commander of the Void Legion spoke in a cold, emotionless voice. "Human? Illyrian? Your friendship inspires others." He paused. "That cannot be allowed." The enemy fleet powered its weapons. Ethan looked at his crew, then at Kael. "No matter what happens next." Kael finished the sentence with a determined smile. "We stand together." Chapter 12. The Impossible Escape. The Void Legion fleet tightened its formation, leaving the ISS Horizon with nowhere to run. Every scanner showed the same result. "No escape route, Captain. They're charging their main weapons," Sarah warned. "A direct attack would destroy the ship within seconds." Kael suddenly stepped toward the navigation console. "There is one way." He projected a holographic map of the system. "A pulsar is hidden behind the nearby nebula. Its magnetic waves are too dangerous for most ships, but your engines are stronger than ours." Ethan understood immediately. "You want to fly through the pulsar?" Kael nodded. "It's dangerous." Ethan smiled. "So is staying here." Chapter 13. A Galaxy United. News of the ISS Horizon's escape spread quickly across the galaxy. Many civilizations had feared the Void Legion for centuries, believing they could never be defeated. But now, they had seen something different. A human and an Illyrian had survived together. Inspired by their courage, leaders from several worlds answered the Illyrian Council's call. One by one, they pledged ships, supplies, and soldiers to a new alliance. For the first time in history, old rivals stood side by side. As the gathering began aboard a massive space station, Ethan looked around the conference hall. "So many species," he said quietly. Kael smiled. "They're not here because of our weapons. They're here because of our friendship." The council's oldest elder stepped forward. Chapter 14. The Final Alliance. The alliance had only hours to prepare. Hundreds of ships gathered outside the space station, forming the largest fleet the galaxy had ever seen. Even so, many commanders looked uneasy. "The Void Legion has never lost a war," one admiral said. Ethan stepped forward. "Maybe that's because they've never faced people willing to fight for each other." The room grew quiet. Kael stood beside him. "For years, our world survived alone. Today, we survive together." Those words spread through every ship in the fleet. Fear slowly turned into determination. As the Allied fleet entered formation, long-range sensors detected the enemy. Thousands of black warships emerged from hyperspace, blocking out the stars. The Void Legion commander appeared on every screen. Chapter 15. The Battle for Hope. The first wave of the Void Legion charged without hesitation. Thousands of dark ships raced toward the Allied fleet, filling space with crimson beams of energy. "All ships, hold formation," Ethan ordered over the Alliance channel. Human destroyers fired powerful railguns, while Illyrian cruisers raised shimmering energy shields to protect the fleet. Species that had once distrusted one another now fought side by side. Explosions lit the darkness. Despite their numbers, the Void Legion continued advancing. "They're breaking through our left flank," Sarah warned. Before Ethan could respond, 3 alien fleets jumped into the battle from hyperspace. "We're here to help," their commander announced. Cheers echoed across every communication channel. Kael smiled. "They came because they believe in us." Ethan nodded. "No, they came because they believe in each other." Chapter 16. The Heart of the Enemy. The colossal flagship of the Void Legion drifted forward, eclipsing the stars behind it. Its armor was covered in dark metal, and hundreds of glowing cannons slowly turned toward the Allied fleet. A single blast destroyed 3 unmanned defense platforms. Silence spread across the Alliance channel. "If that ship reaches the station," Sarah whispered, "everything is over." Kael examined the enemy's design and noticed a faint pulse deep inside the massive hull. Chapter 17. A Friend's Sacrifice. The ISS Horizon slipped through a gap in the flagship's defenses, but warning alarms filled the bridge. "Direct hit in 30 seconds, Sarah shouted. There was no safe path forward. Kael looked at Ethan, then quietly removed a glowing crystal from his uniform. "This is the last power core from my ship," he said. "If I overload it inside their reactor, the flagship will shut down." Ethan immediately shook his head. "That's a one-way mission." Kael smiled. "You once risked your life to save mine. Now let me save yours." For a moment, neither of them spoke. Then Ethan placed a hand on Kael's shoulder. "We're friends. Friends don't leave each other behind." Working together, they rewired the crystal into the Horizon's drone system. Instead of carrying it by hand, the drone launched toward the flagship's exposed reactor. Seconds later, a brilliant flash erupted across space. Chapter 18. Victory through Friendship. With the flagship disabled, the Void Legion's fleet fell into chaos. Their ships no longer moved as one. Some retreated, while others drifted helplessly through space. "Now," Ethan commanded. The Allied fleet surged forward. Human railguns, Illyrian energy cannons, and the weapons of dozens of other civilizations struck together. Within minutes, the remaining enemy ships began to flee. The masked commander appeared one last time on the view screen. "You have won this battle," he said coldly. "But remember, it was not your strength that defeated us." Ethan looked at Kael before answering. "I know. It was our friendship." The commander ended the transmission, and the surviving Void Legion ships disappeared into hyperspace. For the first time in centuries, the galaxy was free. Chapter 19, A New Beginning. Months after the war, the galaxy looked different. Trade routes reopened. Colonies were rebuilt. Worlds that had once feared one another now exchanged knowledge, medicine, and technology. "We only did what friends should do," Ethan would always say. One morning, the ISS Horizon received an invitation from the Galactic Council. Representatives from every major civilization had gathered for a historic ceremony. The Council's oldest elder spoke. "For thousands of years, this galaxy was divided by fear. We judged others by the worlds they came from." He paused and looked at the two friends. "You taught us to judge others by the choices they make." The hall erupted in applause. Chapter 20, The Legacy of Two Friends. Years passed, but the story of Ethan and Kael never faded. Children on distant worlds learned how a human captain answered an unknown distress signal. Instead of ignoring it, one final time, Ethan and Kael returned to the quiet asteroid field where they had first met. And if we hadn't become friends, the galaxy might never have found peace. Together, they activated a small beacon. Its message was simple and broadcast in every known language. "To anyone who hears this, you are not alone." Chapter 21, Shadows Return. Months after the victory, peace spread across the galaxy. Worlds rebuilt their cities, trade flourished, and old enemies became allies. But deep beyond known space, a hidden Void Legion outpost detected the destruction of its flagship. A cold voice echoed through the command chamber. "So, humanity still lives." A larger fleet began preparing for war. Chapter 22, An Unexpected Visitor. While patrolling the frontier, the ISS Horizon detected a small damaged ship drifting through space. Inside was a frightened alien child from a species neither Ethan nor Kael had ever seen. "We were attacked," the child whispered. "They're coming for everyone," Ethan promised. "You're safe now." Kael realized the peace they had fought for was about to be tested again. Chapter 23, The Hidden Fleet. Following the child's coordinates, the Alliance discovered a secret Void Legion shipyard hidden inside a massive nebula. Thousands of unfinished warships floated around a gigantic command station. Sarah stared at the display. "If they launch this fleet, every world will be in danger." Ethan made his decision. "We stop them before they're ready." Chapter 24, One Last Mission. The Allied fleet prepared for its most dangerous operation. This time there would be no massive battle. A small strike team, including Ethan and Kael, would infiltrate the enemy station and disable it from within. Before boarding the shuttle, Kael smiled. "Ready, my friend?" Ethan nodded. Until the end, the shuttle disappeared into the darkness. Chapter 25, Hope Never Dies. Inside the station, Ethan's team planted explosive charges around the station's main reactor. As alarms echoed through the corridors, they escaped just seconds before the reactor exploded. A brilliant flash consumed the entire shipyard. The unfinished fleet vanished forever. Watching from a safe distance, Kael smiled. The galaxy has another chance. Ethan looked at the stars. As long as friends stand together, hope will never die. Chapter 26. A Galaxy Reborn. With a hidden shipyard destroyed, the last remnants of the Void Legion scattered into deep space. Across the galaxy, celebrations filled cities that had once lived in fear. The Galactic Council officially declared the war over. For the first time in generations, children grew up knowing peace instead of conflict. Chapter 27. The Human Illyrian Academy. To ensure the lessons of the war were never forgotten, Ethan and Kael founded an academy where young beings from every civilization could study together. There, they learned science, diplomacy, and one simple truth: understanding is stronger than fear. Students from dozens of species called each other friends before they ever called each other allies. Chapter 28. The Final Journey. Years later, Ethan and Kael took one last voyage aboard the ISS Horizon. They revisited the asteroid field where they had first met. The stars were as beautiful as ever. Kael smiled. A single act of kindness changed everything. Ethan nodded. And I'd make the same choice again. Chapter 29. A Message for the Future. Before returning home, the two friends activated a powerful beacon. It broadcast one message across every known star system. If you come in peace, you will always find a friend among humanity. The signal traveled farther than any ship had ever gone. Somewhere in the darkness, unknown civilizations heard it and smiled. Chapter 30. The Greatest Strength. Decades later, historians searched for the reason the Age of Peace had begun. Some said it was humanity's courage. Others believed it was Illyrian wisdom. But the oldest member of the Galactic Council simply smiled. No. It began the day one human answered a stranger's call for help. Statues of Captain Ethan Carter and Kael of Illyria stood together in the capital of the Galactic Alliance, not as warriors, but as friends. Their story became the first lesson taught to every child in the galaxy. The greatest strength is not power. It is friendship. As the stars shimmered above the Alliance, a new generation of explorers set course for the unknown, not searching for enemies, but hoping to find new friends. The end.
If you enjoyed this HFY Chronicles story, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss our next journey across the stars. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next adventure.